All right, welcome back. It's back to the basics. I'm Sean Barr, and today we are talking about
VTP.
Let's share some VLANs. Let's go. All right, we are back, and we are talking about VTP. That's VLAN Trunking Protocol. It is a Cisco proprietary protocol. That means Cisco built it, it runs on Cisco equipment, and you may be asking yourself, why would I use it? Well, okay, here's why. If you had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 switches and a lot of VLANs, maybe you have a data VLAN, a voice VLAN, a QA VLAN, a server VLAN, a printer VLAN, a wireless VLAN. Managing all of those can be cumbersome. So, what do I mean by managing? Well, if you are using a traditional switch and regular VLANs, you're going to need to create every VLAN on every switch. So if you had 9 switches in a campus environment, let's make it 10 or 20, and you decide, hey, I want to add a VLAN. I want to add another QA VLAN or something like that. And it needs to be pervasive. That means on all of your switches. You would need to go to each one, log into each switch, and put that VLAN on it. VLAN, the name, all of those things, so that it operates. What VTP does is it's basically a server that you could go in and configure a VLAN on, and it will propagate to all of your switches in your environment. So it works as like a client-server operation. So things to know about VTP. Well, as the switch comes out of the box, you'll need to define it, a Cisco switch. You'll need to give it a domain. You'll need to give it a password, a VTP domain and a VTP password. There are 3 different types of modes. There's transparent, client, and server. So by default, they're going to be server if you just put in a domain and a password. But as you scale, if you had 20, 30, 40, 50 switches, you're going to want to limit which ones are clients and which ones are servers. What's the difference between a client and a server? Well, a client will receive all the data, but you can't add VLANs to it. So if you logged into that client, you tried to add a VLAN, it wouldn't propagate that through VTP. You would do that on the server side. Additionally, the third mode, transparent, it means it doesn't participate in VTP. It listens to it and it passes that VTP message along, so other switches in the environment, but it won't pull those VLANs in and configure them. All right, so we've talked about the great side of VTP. It's great. You can go in, you can configure a VLAN, it propagates to all your devices. Wonderful. Well, there is a downside to VTP. One is that if you decided to bring on a new switch in your environment and you weren't paying attention to the VTP versioning, and you gave it a VTP domain and a password to join your network, and maybe it was on an old network or another network, there's a chance that switch could become the server and zero out all your VLANs, basically taking down your entire network. So VTP can be really great, but it also can be very disturbing if you're not careful with it. So if you're deploying it or you're thinking about deploying it, make sure as you add new devices to the network that you're doing it mindfully and you're making sure that, hey, if I'm adding this to VTP, I want to make sure my versioning's good. I want to make sure I'm in the right modes, things like that, so you don't take your own network down. So that's VTP. Essentially, it's a VLAN propagation tool. 3 types of modes: transparent, client, and server. Cisco proprietary, only on Cisco devices. That's it. If I said anything in this video that you're like, hey, I'd love to know more about that, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Back to the Basics. Thanks for watching.